Hello my friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this isn't my normal voice. I'm actually recovering from a proper bout of flu. The kind of one where you need a vaccine, not your usual, I've got a cold and a runny nose. I've literally been bedridden for days. So once the violins have stopped playing, I'll hopefully still have your attention and be talking about this watch today. This is from a lovely brand from Italy called Venezianico. Now forgive my pronunciation, any Italian friends out there, but I'm an Englishman and I don't learn any other languages because that's not what us Brits do. And the model in question is a Nereide Aquaforte. And the good thing about the Aquaforte is I'm going to tell you why it's called the Aquaforte, what that actually means. And it's actually a technique adopted to create this lovely engraved finish on this watch. And what is the relevance of this engraving? And what is the engraving of? So many questions I will answer now if my voice can hold up. Without further ado, let me crack on and share this watch with you. Let's have a look, shall we? So Venezianico Nereide Aquaforte. That's a bit of a mouthful. So if anyone says, what's that on your wrist? Just tell them it's a beautiful Italian watch. Unless you want to attempt some Italian accent. How much does this cost? Well, it's expensive. I'd say it's a spenny watch. It's about £700, maybe 800 euros. But you are getting something very unique, something very special for that. And that's what you pay for, isn't it? It's limited numbers, they sell out really quick. And I would bear that in mind as worthy of your consideration. Sort of the stats and specs you need to know, such as the case is 316L stainless steel, AR coated sapphire crystal. The movement inside is a 9039 Miyota movement, which is a 4 Hertz movement, so it's not quite classed as high beat, but it's smoother operating sweep on the seconds hand than you'd get on a more basic Seiko NH35. It's got a built-in shock resistance system. It's one of the thinnest movements in this price category. They're very reliable and accurate. Really popular for micro brand watch companies because they're relatively affordable, but they offer a little bit of a step up from your more basic Miyota and Seiko movements that are normally offered. It's 200 meters water resistance with a case back, which is screwed, a 7mm crown, which is screw down, mostly brushed case, the bits that are not engraved, of course, with a bit of chamfering going on, some polishing, but the baton indices in here and the hands as well are polished, lovely contrast against that inky matte black dial, brushed inner rehort, applied polished logo for the Venezianico, but then it's got a lovely embossed Venezianico, and then you've got Nereide underneath here, just above the 6 o'clock. So just when it catches the light, you can see the logos on there. The bezel does rotate like a dive watch should, but this isn't really a dive watch, it's a dive style watch. But you know you can get this wet because it has the 200 meters water resist, etc. But I wouldn't be going to use this to do any proper diving because it'd be tricky to read. You do have a lumed triangle at the 12, and you say, how could it be lumed, Dan, as it's black? Well, this has got black Super-LumiNova. Never heard of that before. So in a bit, stick with me. I'm going to show you if that's any good or not. Let's talk about this strap because it's the only strap option with this lovely watch. And the strap is made in Italy and it's got what they call a hand-aged finish. And I thought, what is hand-aging a strap? Quite simply, with aging leather, somebody would have, after the strap's been made, they would have used little fine brushes to effectively score and gently brush up this leather to help give it a slightly textured aged effect, which goes with this gothic look with the watch. It helps this strap actually work more beautifully with the watch, and I like that attention to detail. Dimensions wise, what we're looking at here is a 42mm case, just under 12mm thick here with that flat sapphire crystal, doesn't impact the height at all. The length is 49mm, lug width here for if you did pop it on any other straps is 22mm. What is the connection to Renaissance and this watch? Well, this is where there's going to be a little bit of interesting history lesson to, I'm not going to go into great depths of the Renaissance era, but some of the most famous names in that period of time, Da Vinci and Michelangelo. There were many, many other pioneers in architecture and art, etc. I know I'm doing them a disservice by not naming them all. This is a historic period of time in Italy, and seeing as Venezianico is a Venetian brand, it would be rude not to discuss more what makes this brand special and the fact they're proud of their heritage and they want to incorporate elements of that into some of their timepieces. And that's where this watch comes in, because the name Aquaforte, translating from Italian, means strong water. And what is strong water? Is acid. And acid is the method in which they do this very clever etching that you get on the case here and on the bezel. And the way it works is effectively the pattern is with ink is marked onto the case And then the case and other components are dipped in acid, including this buckle, and the acid eats into the bit which has not been protected, and then once that is removed from the acid and cleaned again, you end up with effectively a acid etched case. And then what they do is by hand they ink fill the engraving to give it that beautiful contrast. That is the Aquaforte technique. A common criticism I've noticed when I've looked at previous reviews and articles about this watch is people say the dial is too bland, it's just very plain, it's just black. I just wonder why people didn't realise that that's probably because it's going for this slightly gothic look, which is part of the Renaissance era. And the fact that the black of the dial is helping the engraved elements and the polished elements on the dial just to pop and stand out more. And it's also to work in harmony with the black ink filling from the engraving. So it's all been designed in harmony together for a good reason. That's why the dial is so plain. And that's why they went for the black lume. They wanted the extremely monochromatic look to really help that engraved element stand out. Criticism would have been they missed a bit. I think it would have been better if they included it in here between the lugs on the case. Everywhere else has been done. What I think is interesting is, what is this pattern? You know, what's the relevance of that and how is that connected to the Renaissance? Well, the Renaissance era, it's like a lot of eras of time when they have design, and there's inspiration from previous eras in time. The Greeks and the Romans have used this kind of design in architecture and art. And effectively, it's the use of, it's replicating what's called an acanthus leaf. And for thousands of years, acanthus leaves have been used for medicinal purposes, but they are a symbol of strength and health. So symbolically, they've been used for a very long time. And that's why they're often used in architecture, because it's a good luck omen for many. And more symbology on the back. What we've got here, well, this is the Lion of St. Mark. This is the symbol of the Serenissima Republic of Venice, effectively the guardian of Venice's history and glory. It's the kind of thing that they'll put on coins and other things throughout Venice. So it's very symbolically important to that part of the world. And that's what I love about this brand, is that they're basically sticking their guns to, we're proud to be Italian, we're proud to be Venetian, we're proud of making watches, and combining all those things together and creating these kind of watches. And even if you're not into Italian culture, I would argue that there's just something unique about having a watch from a company which is so proud of their heritage and bold enough to try it out and share some awesome new things, bring into the watch market, which we don't get enough of, I don't think, nowadays, to have something with a bit of flair, still within the realms of affordability. If you just want a good looking watch which has got something quirky and interesting about it, and in my opinion is a beautiful watch, these are definitely worth checking out in far more detail. So I'm really going to have to give this a supercharged boost with my UV torch, because under the studio lights it didn't charge up enough. So considering that's black lume, it works extremely well. That initial blast picks up really well on the camera, but as soon as a few minutes will pass, I'm sure that won't be very legible. But it's nice to know that this black Super-LumiNova, it does actually work. So there you have it. April the 7th is when this is being re-released, another batch. They'll probably sell out really quick. Snap one up if you want one, of course, but if not, go and check out some of their other stuff. Really interesting, beautiful stuff on there. Now, if you enjoyed my content today, just hit subscribe. It means a great deal, and watch some more of my content. And if not, thanks for sticking to the end of the video. I'm surprised you've made it this far, because there's always a little treat at the end of my videos, and it's a QR code right here for basically I'll give you £1 million. Obviously that's a lie. Don't expect any money. If you got to that terrible joke at the end, maybe one day I will offer a huge grand prize.